how can you help us, though, continue to help you? First, please subscribe to the channel. Like us. If you listen to the audio version, leave us a 5-star review wherever you can. If you see our posts, please share those posts, share the content, and link back to our law firm website, which helps us to continue our SEO marketing and grow our firm and help small business owners. All right, everyone, welcome to another episode of the show. This is very exciting. So this is a round the world episode because Christine is in Australia and I'm in New Jersey, just outside of New York. So that's almost the other side of the world. Certainly, we'll talk about time differences in a minute. And you'll meet Christine. We're going to talk about all the great things she's doing. If you're listening on your favorite directory, leave us a 5-star review. And I'm telling people now that we're trying to get more and more people over to the YouTube channel and the video side. So, subscribe, share, do all those kind of things so we can keep connecting like all over the world, which is really cool about, this type of a platform. So I remind everybody that these episodes are for entertainment purposes only. They're not a guaranteed success or advice of any kind. And if you are listening to something that Christine says or something that I say, don't make decisions before you talk to local professionals and advisors that you use in your local area. So Christine, thanks for joining me. So tell me, is it so it's 3 o'clock in the afternoon in New Jersey. So is it
it's
middle of the night?
It's 6 a.m. It's dark here. No, yeah.
Okay, well that's not too bad.
It's 6 a.m. But I start my days at 6 because most of my clients are in the U.S. and a lot of them are on the East Coast. So So
I felt bad. I thought I got you up at 3 a.m. I'm doing a show, I think next Tuesday, and because of the time difference, he's in Australia. And I said I couldn't do it at 11 o'clock at night, so we're doing it 7 p.m. my time.
Oh, you're a good guy.
Yeah, well, I don't,
For your
I didn't want to do it in the middle of the night.
For your Australian guests, that's a lovely thing to do. Yeah.
Right. Well, we're not live, so whenever you want to listen to it. All right, so let's go back. Tell me about your your background in business and all the kind of things that led you up to what you're doing. Then the second half of the show, we can talk about coaching and all the stuff you're doing.
So actually, I've always wanted to be a teacher, and I am of the age that when I was younger, we didn't have coaches. I mean, coaches were softball coaches, football coaches.
Right. Yeah, me too. Right, exactly.
The idea of a coach was completely different, and maybe we had consultants, okay, but not even a lot of them.
And Tony Robbins, that was about
exactly. So, so I did, but I really appreciated a teacher that I had when I was really young, who knew how we, as students, we all learned differently. It wasn't like a blanket, everybody learns the same way, so I'm just going to teach the same way. And I thought that was quite ingenious of her. And
that's the problem with public school, isn't it?
Yeah.
We teach the same way.
It takes a lot of time for teachers, but for the teachers that understand that, and they're not imprisoned by rules and regulations and policies and all of that stuff, right?
Of course, that's part of it.
So, so I was an avid learner because of that, and so I've always kind of had that desire. I just didn't know how to put it all together. So I even when I went to college, San Diego State University.
All right.
When I went to school, I wanted to be a teacher. I was like, I feel this is great. I can help kids get started and, with life and hopefully give them some advice and, some guidance. And then I saw how much they were paying public school teachers and where they put you for the first 2 years. And I was like, oh, nobody told me that. No career counselor came to me and said, Christine, so
we're going to pay you nothing, and it's going to be dangerous to work.
Exactly.
And none of the kids are going to learn because there's going to be chaos going on in the classroom.
Exactly. Yeah. And I was in Los Angeles. I had
downtown Los Angeles.
I had gone back to Los Angeles to live, and I was like, oh, I just don't see myself doing this. So I after all that education and the degrees and everything, I just said, I'm going to put this on hold. And as you do when you're completely in debt coming out of school, you just find whatever jobs you can. And I still was finding little things that were along the coaching realm, right? So back then, fitness was like, Jane Fonda and all that crazy stuff. Aerobics was huge. And I was like, oh my goodness, well, I can do that. There's no formal training. I just found my way here and there doing a revised,
so that was like fitness and stuff thing you were doing?
Fitness, right? And when you're 19, 20 years old, you're fit. So
Right. You think I can teach these people? I'm in
I'm in
good
good
shape.
shape.
And right.
Exactly. But what I
Right.
learned was because I did a lot of one-on-one training, I really learned
Hmm.
what motivated people, and again applied those things about everybody learns differently. Everybody grasps
Yeah.
things differently. So my
Very much
approach
so.
to
Yeah.
even my business, and I created. I'm an entrepreneur from the get-go. So I created my own
Okay.
fitness business, and it was called Training to be a Kid, and because I wanted
Okay.
something different instead of that whole gym
Interesting.
rat thing, right? And so most of my clients were women, well-off women that were not happy in their body, in their lives, and
Right.
so their fitness was not very good either. So
Right.
we focused on doing those things that as kids, as children, we enjoy doing, and they involved fitness, they involved some sort of exercise, and so
Yeah.
that's
So
kind
did
of
you start working at a gym and then you kind of built out a
yeah.
private practice?
I started working in a
Yeah. Okay.
gym, and then I had women say, "You know what? I would rather have you,
Come to my
yeah,
house. Coach me. Train
come
me.
to my
Yeah.
penthouse, come to my sweet,
Nice.
my very
Yeah.
expensive, luxurious
That's
home."
the clientele you want,
And it
right? Yeah. The
was,
ones
and
that'll
it
pay.
was, and
Yeah.
so we had a blast. I take them on retreats to Costa Rica. We do
Oh,
boogie
nice.
boarding. We
Oh,
would
you're doing high end
all
stuff.
kinds of
Yeah.
different things, right? And
Right.
so I found that that one-on-one, that personalized service, was something that I was very good at. Okay, and curtailing or customizing programs for people instead of having that one size fits all type thing.
Right. This is the way we do it all the time. You were like,
Exactly.
I mean, if they're going to pay for it, you're going to do it the right way, right?
Exactly. And then I got
Yeah.
smart. I
Okay.
was like, you know what? I've already got them, you know, for a training session. So I got my massage license. I said, "Would you like a massage
Yeah.
after your training session?" And everybody
Right.
said, "Yeah." So I was like,
Of
"Okay,
course.
cool. We'll tack that on."
Yeah. Hey,
So
cost of acquisition of a customer. You already have them, right?
exactly.
It's true. It's the same thing. It's not different.
And so that was wonderful. But then I was still searching. I was still looking for something.
Okay.
And when you have that, I call it
You
the.
just didn't feel like this was your career. You felt like, well, this is a way to make
It was a
money,
good
right?
way to make money, and at that time,
Yeah.
it was an excellent way. But I felt a
Right.
pull. I felt something. It was like something else that is meatier, more juicy for me. And I'm very creative, and so
Okay.
one day I was weird. I saw an ad for America Online, and they were looking
Hmm.
for columnists, and just like with the fitness thing, I go, I could do that, right? I
Right.
could do that, and I
Yeah.
applied
So they were just looking for people to write content for.
for their
I mean, in those days, nobody knows this, right? You and I do, but America Online was like this captured like world. There
yeah.
wasn't like the internet with all these
There was no
websites.
TikTok. There was no
No, it was
nothing.
all right. You logged in and they had all the boxes that you could click on,
Yeah.
and you're like trapped in their world. Okay, so they wanted writers to create content for them.
And I was lucky enough to get an opportunity to send in a sample, I guess you'd say, for the
Yeah.
entertainment channel, which is like the most popular. And they liked my stuff. I wrote through a cartoon character. I decided again do something different. I didn't want to write as me,
Okay.
Christine. Who cares about Christine
Right.
and what I think about movies or celebrities?
Well, they don't know you.
So I
Right.
wrote through a cartoon character called Beatbox Betty, and Beatbox Betty was this very vampy, campy, anatomically incorrect
Very creative.
character, and
Yeah.
she was funny. She was very, very funny. So I started writing in that style, and they were like, "Oh my God, we love you." Okay, yes. So they gave me my AOL microphone jacket. They said, "Okay, you're going to go to all of the premieres. We're going to put you on the press list for all the, the press
Oh,
junkets."
really? They were like having you get
Oh
out
yeah.
there and
Oh yeah. Well, because
okay.
I was based.
But you had to be Beatbox Betty when you were there. You couldn't be Christine, right?
Right. Well,
Right.
they loved that idea. Like
You like playing a character.
celebrities were like, "Oh my God, you're Beatbox Betty. I've heard of you. I've seen you.
Really?
Oh yeah. Oh my God.
that must have been a trip.
Lily Tomlin
Yeah.
told me once. She said,
You're kidding.
Jane and I read you all the time. That's her wife, Jane. At the time was her partner. And I said, "You're kidding."
But not Jane Fonda.
No, Jane
A
Wagner.
different Jane. Because they're good friends, right? Yeah,
Yeah,
got
but
it.
Lily was like,
That's
"Oh my
funny.
God, you're Beatbox Betty," and I was like, "Get out of here!" I thought she was going to punk me. I thought she was being cruel. I'm like, "Are you going to
Really?
like be mean to me?"
Right, somebody's joking. Say,
And
right.
she's like, "No, we read you all the time. We think you're very funny." And I was like, "Oh my God, okay."
Your head probably got so big you couldn't
Well,
move your
AOL
hand.
reached a lot of
Yeah. Did you
people.
feel good? Yeah, in those days that was it.
You know.
I remember '92. I was in a youth conference I think in Israel, but there were kids from Europe, Israel, and the United States, and they were talking about all this thing called the internet.
Yeah.
I was like, that can't be a real thing. Like, we live in the United States. We hear about things first, right? I get back, and that's what it was. America Online discs on everybody's doorstep.
Yes.
Right?
Yes.
Yeah.
Those discs
Well, it
and that
was,
screeching sound, and you got
Yeah.
mail. That was
I know. Crazy.
But it was
I know.
really exciting because I got a lot of opportunities. I did all the press junkets and all the celebrity stuff, but there was still something missing in my life. And Hollywood, as we know now, especially Hollywood, all that glitters is not gold. And I didn't see any weird stuff. Not like what's happening.
Good thing.
That's not what's happening now. But
That could be another show.
it did help.
Yeah.
Really, it helped me craft my messaging and my communication and how I write and how I tell story. So that was wonderful. But something, again, the pull. And 9/11 happened.
Okay, but before you move on, what happened to Beatbox Betty?
Oh, she's lovingly, archived somewhere.
She's in a retirement home.
She's in a
somewhere
retirement
Utah.
home sipping her martini. That's her thing.
Nice.
She was drinking martinis all the time.
Right. Okay.
So then 9/11 happened. And when that happened, I was like, it really made me stop and think about what I was doing and how important it was in the grand scheme of things. And so again, as we do, we search, we're looking for something. And I was channel surfing when you're stuck in traffic, as you're always stuck in traffic in Los Angeles. And I was just sitting there channel surfing the dial right after 9/11, as we all were. And I came across a radio station that was very interesting. It was not the regular corporate media. It was not a lot of fear. It was actually asking questions, and it was telling me about some of the history of the Middle East. I didn't even know. I wasn't taught this. We weren't taught this. And I was like, well, why do they hate us? And then I was like, learning. And I was like, okay, I understand why there's some issues.
Yeah, if you're Jewish, like I am, you learn it like in Hebrew school, but you don't learn it in public school.
Yeah, but we did it.
No.
We weren't, American kids were not taught anything.
Right, of course.
And so I was like, okay, well, let's go to this radio station. I wanted to go to the station, and I just wanted to thank everybody for their the work that they were doing. And so I went. I drove there. I went there, and they were like, "Oh God, okay, hi. What do you do?" And I said, "I write through a cartoon character named Beatbox Betty. I write from
This was in L.A.
from America Online.
California?
Yeah, I was in Los Angeles."
Yeah, okay.
And they were like, "That's great." They were so positive. And I said, "But you guys are doing really great stuff. I mean, you're talking about important issues, and at that time, it was the ramp up for war, as well. That whole transition.
Yeah, it became what, Desert Storm or something like that? Yeah.
And it was scary. And they were like, well, you should volunteer. You should think about, working with the station. Help us. We need writers. We need, producers. It doesn't pay anything." And I was like, okay. But I had the gig at AOL still, so I was like, okay.
So there was income coming in. It could be side.
And this is important advice. I mean, this is a suggestion. If you are going to change careers or you're going to start your own business, it really helps when you have a regular salary and you have already a job.
Yeah.
And you're double timing, and you're going to be tired because you're going to be doing some work at night and on the weekends. But
you're not stressed because you're worried about paying your bills. You can't think.
It's so worth it. It's so worth it.
Yeah.
So that's what I did.
Now, let me ask you a question, because it seems to be like, from what you're saying about all these things, looking for that maybe even Beatbox Betty was paying bills, and you didn't feel like it was important enough. Is that why? Like,
I knew that there was something.
I think it was.
I knew that there was something else that I'm supposed to be doing.
Okay.
It's that inner knowing when you go,
you're like, this is great, but this isn't it.
This isn't it.
That was.
Yes.
Yeah.
This isn't it. And it was fantastic while it lasted, and I'm very grateful for all the opportunities. But it wasn't it. It wasn't my life's mission. Let's put it that way.
Right.
Right.
Right. But at this point, you weren't sure what that was.
I didn't. No, didn't know. And then we had 9/11, and we're like, all of these crazy things, and
you should have been here. 9/11. It was nuts. I was stuck outside the George Washington Bridge for like 7 hours. Everybody just got out of their car and all crying and whatever. Nobody, and a lot of people didn't know what was going on because the cell towers were down. We got a little bit of radio. It wasn't like it is now.
And people who are not,
And,
who are not, let's say you're listening to this or you're watching this and you're not from the States and you've never been to New York, it's very condensed. It's concentrated. There's a lot of people in a little space.
in certain areas.
Yeah,
Right,
it's not like Los Angeles. When you talk about the city of Los Angeles or the county, Los Angeles is huge, miles and miles and miles and miles. But we're talking New York City. New York is very.
It's an island. It can't get bigger.
Can't get bigger, exactly.
Yeah.
So it was
Yeah,
scary
it's great.
times, but it was also, again, that direction of life. And so I started there at the station, and man, I was there 20 years. 20
Really?
years, yes.
And what kind of stuff did you write about? What was your?
Well, I started as a writer and as a producer, and then it was that Hollywood story that they go, the star broke their leg, they can't go on the show. There's a 5 o'clock drive time radio show that has to have somebody hosting it. And I was like, no. Imposter syndrome came in. No. I'm behind the scenes. I'm the I do not go on.
Oh, they wanted you to be an on-air radio.
Yeah. I was like, no way, Jose. I had imposter syndrome. I was scared. I thought I'd fail. I didn't know what
common,
people
right?
were going to say or
Yeah.
think about me.
It's frightening, yeah, when you put yourself out
Yeah.
there.
And it's 5 o'clock drive time. It's the most listened to hour.
Yeah. Everybody's going to hear you.
Everyone.
Yeah.
And they're
Right.
like, well, sorry, that's too bad. You have to go on air because,
Right, we need you.
yeah,
Right.
there's
It's
nobody else to do it,
Yeah.
Christine.
Right.
And it's like that
Right.
Hollywood story. It's like, come on, kid, you got to go on. You know? It's like-
You can do it. Go ahead. Yeah, I know.
and so that was the magical moment of my life was when I walked into that dark studio. I was by myself. There's somebody behind the glass, going, you can do this, And I
Yeah.
put on the headphones or the cans, as they say in the industry.
Yeah.
I pulled the
right.
microphone close. My heart was just beating outside of my chest. I felt sick.
You remember this? Yeah.
And I remember the on-air light went on, the red on-air light.
Yeah.
It says on-air. And
And you're like, bingo.
it was like the angels, the movies when the angels start.
Yeah, like all came together.
It all came together, and I just started talking, and I could feel what the audience was feeling, and I could hear them asking questions. So I was answering the questions without telling them that I'm hearing them ask the questions.
What was the show?
I just, what I did? I basically said, who I was. Hi, I'm Christine. I'm behind the scenes, Christine. And
Right.
today, because our host is not able to join us, I thought it would be a good idea to open up the phone lines. Now, in radio, the most scariest time is when you open up the phone lines.
Yeah, because you don't know what's going to
You
happen.
don't know
somebody's
who you're going to
listening.
get.
But you're not answering the phone. I mean, they're answering the phone on the other side of the glass first,
Yes,
right?
but remember, they're not screening people at this point. They're,
that's true.
they're just
'Cause it's live.
They're like,
You gotta
please
get
turn
'em
down
on.
your radio, and
Right.
and so
That's it.
and normally you would get like all the complainers, people hating you, right, and just
Right.
being mean. And I did
Right.
say, I said, listen, it's my first time, but I thought there's so much happening in the world. Now this is a while. Shortly after 9/11. But this was all of the restrictions and all the Patriot Act and all the law, all the weird things.
Yeah.
And so I said, we're going to open up the phone lines. Please make sure that you don't swear. I had to say that because we had a dump button for the FCC. You have to
Yeah,
dump when somebody swears. But my engineer was a little slow, and he's not gonna catch it. And I'm like, please, on my first show, don't do this. And so we
Yeah.
did. We opened it, and I said to myself, please, dear Lord, please make sure that only the people that are supposed to come through, and they're going to say something really important,
Meaningful and important.
let them come through. And the other people, they just can't get through. It's busy or whatever, right?
Right.
And magically enough, all of the
You willed it.
all of the calls that
Right.
came in were so amazing. They were so
Yeah.
lovely and so sweet and interesting. And I even said, you know what? I said, our listeners are some of the smartest people out there because these are great questions, and these are things that we should talk about. But it was just a magical moment where I found my space. I found my place.
Yeah,
I was like,
sounds
yep,
cathartic.
this is it.
Yeah.
And so I did that.
So it was the radio station a talk radio station? Is
Yes,
that
it
what
was a community sponsored. This is the other thing, community sponsored radio. So we had no money.
Got it.
So
It's like NPR, but local only.
yeah. So
Yeah, is it no
Christine
money,
had to get
right?
on the air and rattle the cups.
That's why they weren't paying you. Yeah, exactly.
We were paid.
Buy your own
We were
coffee.
paid crap. But I had to beg.
Yeah.
I had to like go on the air and say, "You get this for free, but give us money."
Yeah.
Which is
Yeah, because I mean, they're keeping the lights on somehow, right? I mean, they're not paying you, not paying the people, but they still got to power up the equipment.
it is
I mean,
the
that's not free.
hardest job. You know, sales
Yeah.
is one thing, but when you work for a nonprofit radio network station, whatever, and people are already getting the product for free, and you have to
Right.
ask for money, man,
Right.
that's a tough gig. That's a really tough
Yeah,
thing.
I know.
But it helped me.
I
It
know.
helped me
I-
a lot. Learn what
Yeah.
people actually want and need.
Yeah.
It honed in
No,
that
it's quite-
craft quick.
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah.
That's why I like doing this, because I like talking to people and I find people
I
interesting.
know you
whatever.
do.
You know, yeah. I do NPR, actually. I do the monthly subscription because, like, I don't subscribe to any podcast or anything, but I feel it's important to, like, support public radio.
Oh,
so
you're a good
I do that.
guy.
It's only like $8 a month, but it gets me all the shows with no commercials, and you know, I feel like that's important.
Yeah, what happened when I think it was when Sesame Street went away. I don't know where it is, if it's still there or not.
It's on like HBO, I think.
Oh.
They bought children's.
HBO.
I have a good friend I went to college with. Yeah, something like that. At Children's Television Workshop, I think it was bought by them. Maybe they spun it off. I don't know, but they still get a lot of funding through the government, which is being cut. You know, so I have a friend I went to college with, known her since I was young. She's probably spent 25 years working for Sesame Street and Children's Workshop, and she said it's just chaos over there. Yeah,
I mean, that's what got us through, childhood were those things.
yeah, that's what raised us.
The electric
Parents can't do
company
it.
and
Yeah, the
remember the
electric
electric company?
Yeah, I remember the
They were
electric
kind of the
company. That was
edgier
great.
Sesame Street.
Yeah, exactly. Right, exactly. That's funny. Okay, so you spent 20 years there, but did you do other things while you were? So did that start your on-air career? Like, were you then
Yeah. I loved it.
DJ is not the right word because you're not spinning records, but you're a talk show personality
host.
now.
Yeah. And
Yeah.
what happened is because because the network was not run probably the way a nonprofit should be run. Lots of great well-meaning volunteers, but not business savvy at all, and funding, right? So the
Right.
board of directors was an odd bunch. They didn't know how to raise money. So it all
Yeah.
came down to the fund drives. And one thing is that when you are really successful at what you do, sometimes people can take advantage of that, or organizations can take advantage of that. I became sort of the golden goose. So a show, somebody who had a popular show could go on, and maybe they'd raise in an hour $500. I'd go on and raise 5,000.
500. That's like nothing.
Yeah, it is nothing. It's because talk show hosts and people who are really good presenters, they're not necessarily good salespeople.
No, not at all.
And they didn't
Right.
know what people. They were like, just give
Right.
us money because we're us.
They're afraid to ask. Right.
And
yeah.
I knew right away. I was like, you have to give people what they want, and this is how
Right.
I learned the skill of the three, right? The magical three. If you can offer someone something to do with either health, wealth, or love, right?
Okay.
Health, wealth, or love. Those are three things that we all as human beings need, want, desire. And if you have a business that offers support of those things, or products or services that can bring those things to people, then you're ahead of the game.
Yeah, now it's a compelling reason
Yeah.
for them to support.
So I had to figure out ways. So man, I did. I figured out ways to raise that money by thank you gifts. Instead of give us money and we'll send you a pair of station socks. No, it was give us the donation of your money and we'll get you some organic superfood that you can throw in there with some water and feel great, and it actually tastes great, and you know all that stuff. That's what I
Yeah.
was doing, right?
Okay.
And so it helped me in a great deal. But again, when I would have people on, I would, even during the fund drives, I would be looking at their business and I'd be, oh my gosh, this is so great, but have you thought about this? your website is awesome, but I'm confused. Can you tell me what this actually means? And then a lot of the people would be, you know what? Can you just come to my business? Can you come over to the warehouse? Can you come and give us some advice on how we could do better marketing, how we can have that communication, that messaging? And that's how it started with the private clients coaching. But it took me that whole time, with AOL to learn how to communicate just through typing. There was no video.
Right.
It was just, these were columns.
You couldn't transmit video, right?
They were all written columns. So from that to radio and knowing what people need and want and how to communicate. So my whole life, it was just all getting ready for what I do now, which is helping people with their branding and their messaging. And we start with the foundation. We start with it's their website, but it's their brand. It's their vibe, their energy that they put out into the world.
I would say how you show up. That's
How
what
you
it is,
show
right? It's
up.
how you show up. And
up.
so many people, Christine, think that's not important.
Oh, God.
And I say to them, even if you don't get a significant portion of your business from the internet, that's how we show up today, whether you like it or not.
I have on the bottom of
No?
my website, every page on my website, it says this. Remember this. If you're not seen and heard, you're not hired.
No way. Yeah.
You don't
absolutely
exist.
not. And it's important.
Yeah.
And that's your obligation to be seen and heard. Nobody's going to do it for you.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
So is most of your coaching focused on the branding, the showing up,
Being seen and heard.
all that? Yeah, being seen and heard.
And developing trust. Yeah. That's the other thing, is that right now, as human beings, we are craving authenticity and we're creating truthfulness. We see it reflected every time we turn on the TV or we scroll on the social media. You see lie after lie after lie. And it doesn't matter. It doesn't matter if your team is blue or red. It doesn't matter if your celebrity that you adored. It doesn't matter. It doesn't matter. We are seeing a collapse of humanity on so many different levels. And so as human beings, we are craving authenticity. We're craving realness. Someone that when they speak the truth, we go, I'm behind you. Man, I am behind that person. And I don't care what color they are. I don't care what religion they are. I don't care what they're wearing or what car they drive. This person is speaking the truth, and I will support them. I will like them. I will follow them. I will, work with them. It's happening.
And I always felt that, when it comes to sales, I have a very good friend of mine in Florida who's a motivational speaker, and I guess he's a coach. He's coaches sales teams, and he writes about authentic persuasion. And I think that, over time, the old sales techniques didn't really work, right? People see through that. They want to feel that you're authentic. But I think we're in a time where it's very hard for people to discern, like, are you telling the truth or not? And everybody's suspicious. People are just lying just because they think it's okay. Like if you lie enough, it becomes the truth. It's ridiculous. And I think you're right. I think people are really struggling with, what they read. I don't even believe anything I read anymore. It's
changing,
just crazy.
But it's people are the baloney detector is on.
Because we're learning. Because we're going through this process.
Because we don't. We used to be told something.
Don't you think that makes us less trusting? Like we're skeptical of everything we read.
Of course we're skeptical.
We're able to
but
confirm
rightfully
it.
so, we're skeptical.
Yeah.
We're
100%.
realizing that the things that we were told, that were drilled into us, weren't true.
Right. Yeah, a lot of that stuff. Yeah. Plus, we used to take things for granted. That you see it on the news, or you read it, must be true. Now you read something, you're like, nah, it's probably not true, and you double.
If Walter Cronkite said it, or Barbara Walters said it, it was
right. That was different because they had ethics and guardrails and laws to follow. I was at my daughter's school in Arizona, and because I got stuck there, I went to this like debate prep type of thing, right? And they were talking about, does social media divide us or unite us, right? Now, I'm of the opinion that I think it connects us. I don't think it unites us at all. But I'm the oldest person in the room, right? I'm 59. Every kid there is 20 years old, except for the teacher, and he's probably in his 40s at most, right? So none of them grew up with like newspapers, and it's all social media, right?
Right.
So
yeah.
Yeah. So I didn't say anything because I'm not a student at the university, right? I'm just sitting in the back listening to my daughter or whatever. But afterward, I had a talk with the professor. We were talking. And I said to him, could you imagine, like, if let's say a local newspaper, right, had a spread once a week that just said to people, listen, you can write whatever you want, just send it in. We will print it without verifying anything. Or the news. Let's say you're on the radio, right?
Right,
And whatever people send you, just read. Like, that's absurd, but that is exactly what is going on. People can say anything they want. There's no, the guardrails. There's no consequences. Even these platforms, they got to be held accountable for. I mean, we got to get some ethics back.
Yeah.
And I think you're right, changing slowly. And I don't want to get political, but I'm sure we're on the same side of the.
It's
when
because
you get
people,
into all these people, they got to change the people that are running our institutions. It's nuts.
It's because people don't trust the media anymore.
Yeah.
And
not
you
anymore.
know what? And rightfully so.
Yeah, it's deserved. There's no question about it.
It's like it's kind of like if you're in a relationship and your boyfriend is beating you up and you go, you know what? I'm done.
Yeah.
I'm leaving.
Right.
And then the boyfriend's like, well, why did they leave? Well, because you were abusive, right?
Right.
And so people are seeking out their own. And listen, there needs to be a level of discernment too. I'm a TikTok freak. I admit it. I spend way too much time on TikTok.
Yeah, my wife
Right?
does too.
But
Yeah,
it's also
addicting.
it's also knowing too when you come across material, and I'll know right away too, and I'll go, oh, that has, first of all, that's a very negative energy or vibe, whatever. But the algorithm is such that when you stop and you look at something for a certain length of time,
It knows that.
it knows that, and it's like,
Oh, Christine must like that.
she likes puppies.
Let's send her more.
She likes little puppies playing with yarn. Well, let's send her more. Let's send her more. Let's send her more.
Right.
Because their
Right.
job is to keep you on the platform for as long as possible.
Because it's a business.
Exactly.
But so is the news. Right? Deciding what's news is a business to get you to watch the news. But they have rules. They have like laws. You could sue them. They confirm things 2, maybe 3
Yes.
times before they publish anything. We don't do that anymore. It's funny, when I was in Arizona, our dogs, we had to put them down like a year ago. They were
sorry.
16. I mean, they'd lived a good life. So my wife's like, should we get a new dog? She went, oh. I'm like, no. So she sends me this, I think it was from TikTok or maybe Instagram, this picture of this. It was a Bernedoodle. Owner had died, and this cute dog, whatever. So she's like, it's in New Jersey. We can get him. I'm like, oh, I don't really want to do this. So we start looking. But she's looking and she's thinking and she's contacting these people. And all of a sudden she starts realizing the same dog is showing up like in different places as a different dog.
Oh, that's horrible.
And it's all, and people are doing that in those kind of heartstring industries, like with puppies and kittens and things like that, because they know it's easy to scam you, and they just steal these pictures and they use AI to do whatever, and you got to be real careful about all that stuff,
And especially
But
with Facebook
really
Marketplace
gone off
too.
the
You
rails.
got sometimes
Yeah.
I think there's a creator that has a TikTok channel about Facebook Marketplace and just some of the stuff, the crazy stuff that people put on Facebook Marketplace. And there is a comedian who said too, she did a thing. She was giving for free, whatever it was, a free desk, and she was showing on the screen this crazy person who was messaging her, saying, would you take less? Would you take less for it? And she's like, no, it's free. It's absolutely free. You can come and get it. And the lady was like fighting with her, going, I can't believe you would you're not going to go lower on your price. And she's like, it
Must be a robot, right? A bot.
Oh, it was because
It's got to be.
it's the public.
Yeah. That's hysterical. People are arguing they want to get her down below 0. Okay, well, why don't you pay me and you can come pick it
I
up?
know.
You know,
But it is the
that's
wild,
pretty
wild
funny.
west when it comes to social media, and so from my clients when they go, oh my God, I have to go out there, I have to go into this stuff,
Right, they're afraid.
and I say,
Sure.
listen, I said, you don't go out there and you don't spend a lot of time and effort on social media until you have your foundation down, and this
Yeah.
is the problem I see with a lot of entrepreneurs and people who throw so much money into building their business. and
Yeah.
and I'm going to be this on social media. I'm going to invest in that, and then, but they haven't really built the foundation of their brand.
Right, and they just threw it out there, and now they're all over the place. I think you need like a strategic
Yes,
approach, so things are a little consistent and people get you.
absolutely. And you need to be really clear and concise. You can't be
Yeah.
vague. You can't say I do everything for everybody.
Well, that's the worst. That actually reduces your business. People don't
Nobody,
realize,
yeah,
right? So
because nobody knows what you
if you're
do.
not specific, nobody knows, right? I meet mortgage brokers all the time because I do a lot of business work and a lot of tech. We can write any kind of loan. I go, well, then I will never remember you for another day in my life because
Right.
there's nothing that makes you more unique than anybody else I've ever met.
Yeah,
The ones that I know that do certain things, I think of when I have those needs for clients and stuff. So
exactly.
yeah, look, the world of the generalist attorney is kind of, I guess they're still out there, but it's just not a good place to be, right? You want to hold yourself out in certain areas and certain things you're good at, so people can come to you for the right things, not for anything.
Well, and the things that you're really great at, showcase, put a spotlight on the things that you're really, really, really good at. And then once people come into your orbit, then you can go, oh, by the way, I can also do divorce and I can do
Right.
family trust
I
and
do that.
all those different
Right.
things. But you
Yeah.
need a way for people to differentiate you from other people as well.
Right. It doesn't mean you turn away all the business necessarily. Sometimes you do, right? It
Yes.
means that you reach out and you do the target marketing and the branding and the messaging on point.
Absolutely. I'm
know why
basically, if
people
you
get-
boil it down, I'm a business coach. But
Yeah.
oh my God, there's a gazillion business coaches out
I
there.
was going to say, there's really no barriers to entry to being a coach these
No.
days. You can just you don't have to go to school or get.
No,
any
anybody
kind
can
of-
say, "Hey, I'm a coach," but I had to put
Right.
the expert authority coach together. I had to put that whole thing together because that's what I specialize in, is helping people
Yeah,
stand
that's
out.
the way you show up.
Yeah.
That's your branding.
Exactly.
Yeah. Well, I would think that if they're going to hire you to guide them through that whole process, if you're not doing it well yourself, it's a little bit hard
Exactly.
for somebody to trust you, to have, faith and comfort in working with you, right?
That's like when somebody says, they can create a website for you. I get inboxed all the time, like, oh, your website should do this and that and the other, and then I'll look at their website and I go, oh, you're not touching mine.
Terrible,
You're-
right?
No way.
Is that they're the shoemaker with holes in their shoes because they're not paying attention to their own
Yeah,
stuff.
yeah.
Yeah, it doesn't make any sense. So are there more, so what industries do you tend to work more with than not?
I work with a lot of coaches, authors,
Okay, authors.
service and for some reason, like a lot of therapists. It's interesting
Okay.
because they're so brilliant at what they already do. They're really brilliant, and they've studied and they've worked really hard in an industry that can be quite. Oh my goodness, you're hearing people's problems all the time, right?
Yeah, that's why a lot of therapists have therapists.
I
Therapists,
know,
their own
I
therapists who
know.
listen to people's problems all the time. Makes me crazy.
So,
Yeah.
but when it comes to marketing their business or who they are, they're the last person. They're like, they're kind of not shy, but they're like, oh my gosh, do you mean do I need to do I need to do TikToks? Do I need to dance? And I'm like, no,
Right.
no, girl, or no, man.
Yeah, but their industry doesn't provide them any of that kind of training,
No,
right?
no.
Yeah, no.
And they really need me. They really need someone like me who can actually take a look at their business, look at their digital footprint, but more importantly, look at their website, because that's where people who are seeking therapy or if you're a coach, that's where people are going to go first, is to your website. They're
Right.
going to look
Learn about you,
and learn
see if you
about you.
connect.
They want to see the About Me section. They want to
Right.
see.
Does it resonate with them?
And
right?
if you have testimonials or reviews, they want to know that other people have actually worked with you. You didn't just graduate last week, right?
Yeah.
So because they're going to be vulnerable with you, they're going to trust you with their lives and their emotions.
Yeah.
So
Right.
it's very, very important. And I mean, I had one client. I remember she on her website. I told her, I said, we're going to make a big change on your website right away. And she's like, what do you mean? I said, well, when you pull up the website above the fold, meaning before you start scrolling or anything, it's right there. It's the full screen on your phone, full screen on your computer. I said, when you pull that up, I said, the first thing I see is this big bridge over water. She says, oh, that's a landmark. It's a it's the most recognizable landmark in my area of town. So I want people to know that I'm the local, like I'm, they could come to inside my clinic and I'm right here. It's a landmark. It's very recognizable. I said, as a therapist who deals with people with depression and anxiety, when I see that thing, all I see is a bridge. I don't see a human being. I don't see a video of you talking to me, calming me. I see a bridge, and that bridge makes me want to jump. And she went, oh my God.
Right. She never thought about it.
She
Right,
just realized in that moment, and her heart sank. She said,
because she's sending a message, the wrong message.
exactly.
Right? Yeah.
As a mental care, health provider, she didn't realize that. And I said, that's the first thing we're going to do. We're going to take that puppy off, and we're going to have a video of you communicating when somebody pulls up your website. Hi. And she's such a lovely, beautiful human being. I said, I want to see that when I come to your website.
Of course.
Not the bridge.
Right.
Yeah.
No, that is a stark example. Of,
Yeah.
like, I mean, they don't stand out that much, right? But that must have been you go on the website, it's like terrifying to you. You're like, oh my
When
God.
I saw that, I was like, girl, we got to talk.
That is very funny. And okay, so it's interesting though, you coach other coaches.
Yeah.
Maybe you're getting your calendaring from one software and you're invoicing from another. Evenoo is a platform that we use as one of our sponsors to run our entire business. And there's other features like auto payments and integrations with QuickBooks. Visit evenoo.com, EVONUE.com to learn more. There's also a link in the show notes. And be sure to tell them that the Accidental Entrepreneur referred you. This podcast is brought to you by our affiliate sponsor, iEmployee. iEmployee is a virtual assistant service that hires almost anyone for any role in your company right out of the Philippines. Most roles range from $7 to $9 an hour for highly skilled and experienced VAs. And whether you need an executive assistant, social media manager, video editor, customer service, sales, you name it, they have it. We use iEmployee for our VA services, from editing and promoting the podcast to all the PR and promotion of our law firm. iEmployee acts as a virtual field supervisor on the back end with live video monitoring and reports on a daily basis with screenshots of your VA's workday, and along with complete HR and payroll duties. No more paying for overpriced and underqualified workers. There's a link in the show notes to get a 1-week free trial, and I encourage you to take advantage of it.
Yeah.
Well, because a lot of times, and I have a new client who's in Dubai, who's a fitness coach, and her clientele are women 50s on up, so menopause, type.
Okay.
And she's really knowledgeable at what she does. She's an incredible fitness coach. I mean, she's done it all amazing with nutrition and all of that. And she's wanting to make a really strong impact, and she needs that branding to pop out so that she can bring people into her world, right? And so right now we're just working on her branding. We're working on her website a bit as well, and her offers. Because coaches, a lot of times we think we know, we think we're expressing and communicating our message clearly, and a lot of times we're not, because we know all of the information. It's like an attorney.
Right. Yeah.
You've studied, right? So you know these long words and
right, and nobody understands
these contractual things.
Right.
And the common person. So I always say too. A great idea is to just keep things sort of at that 5th grade level. So when you're communicating, keep it at that 5th grade level so everyone understands. Then when you bring that person into your business, then you can get into the more nitty gritty and teach them certain things. So that's what we're doing with her and her brand right now. And a lot of coaches need that guidance because they're really good at what they do. They're just not great at that whole.
Consultants are the same way. They're not good at communicating that to the rest of the world. It's funny. I think a much earlier website I had, and it was too technical, and it was all this stuff. But to me, as a lawyer, I was like, oh, this is great. It shows my expertise. I asked a friend, and they go, oh, I know what you do, and I know you, but I have no idea what any of this says. Like, I have no idea.
Right.
And it became evident to me that that's not what needs to be out there. It needs to be simple. It needs to be understandable. And I don't need to impress anybody. I know what I'm talking about, so I take care of them.
And it's about the It's about the audience. It's about the customer. It's about the client. It's not about us. Yes, you do need to have that bio, that about me section, so people can see that you're a professional. But I've seen those about me sections, and it goes on like a novel. It tells it what high school I went to and who I married and where I went.
Right.
And it's so much stuff. And it's like, you
Right.
have not said what you do for that person. You've spent 8,000 pages on you and nothing about what you actually do for people. Show me testimonials, show me reviews, and show me what
Right.
actually I paid you for. Right?
Yeah. People want to know that. Now, here's a good marketing question, right? How did you connect with this woman from Dubai?
Being seen and being heard.
Okay.
Being a guest on podcast shows. I have my own podcast show, right? Which is
Yeah,
fantastic.
right.
I get to bring amazing people on.
Okay.
But being a guest on podcast shows, you reach an audience that you normally would never reach. Right?
Right. I tell a lot of people to guest. I do a lot of guesting.
And
Yeah,
if
it's a good way to get started.
and if you're telling a story or you're talking about what you do to help people, someone's going to listen and they're going to go, you know what? I dig that, Chris. I like her energy. And it's about an energy. It's a vibe. It's not woo woo. It is,
No, you're right.
you know, you had guests on the
That's
show
why
that
people
are
make emotional decisions.
absolutely, and you've had guests on the show that are very conservative and very, very
Yeah.
businesslike.
Try and size them up ahead of time just in case. but
Right. But my energy is very different. I like to have fun. With my clients, I want it to be fun, enjoyable experience. I don't want it to be
Right.
hard and difficult
Yeah.
and stressful.
Right. That's not what you're there for.
No, you save that for the
Harder, they
dentist.
can do that on their own.
Right.
Yeah, they can be right. Exactly. They can go get stressed out and make it hard on their own. They don't need you for that.
Exactly. So
Yeah,
she
yeah,
heard
yeah.
me on a podcast show. Yeah.
There you go. That's interesting.
And
Yeah,
reached
I
out.
tell a lot of people to do that. Yeah, I tell a lot of people to guest on a show, but I think your advice is good, right? They should better make sure that their messaging and their branding, that they show up properly, because people are going to connect with you and then they're going to look and they're going to go, that does not match what I thought I heard on that show, And
Bingo.
so you and I met, right, for 15 minutes. We did a little thing before we came on the show to make sure we connected or whatever. I didn't used to do that. And one time I get on a show with a guest and this person is giving me like one-word answers.
Oh, dude.
And and I'm thinking, how in the world am I going to get through 50 minutes with this person? I don't even know how. It was like a nightmare. So now when I meet people and they just don't really have the personality for it, I always say, listen, I don't think you're ready for the show, but let me give you some advice. And then I tell them,
Good.
get a
Oh,
good
that's
mic.
so good.
I don't just send them off. Yeah, I connect them with Podmatch or Podcast Guests. Podcast Guests, is that the other one? Yeah, Riverside and Matchmaker FM. And I said, listen, you got to get out there, but make sure that you're on brand. I mean, I don't want to just say no to people. You want to help.
I've had it happen a couple times, and I'll tell you a story, a Hollywood story, an AOL story. So we were at a press junket for, I think it was The Big Lebowski.
Oh, okay.
And the star of it, he was great, wonderful, but it was John Goodman, and it was a
Right.
press junket, so we're all sitting at a table. What you do is you sit at a table and like for 20 minutes, the journalists will ask questions and the celebrity star actor answers them, hopefully. And then they move them. Then they move them to another room, and then another person comes in, the director maybe, right?
Oh, they just move them through?
Yeah,
Like,
through different rooms.
got it.
Uh,
Got it.
And so John Goodman came in, and everybody was asking different questions, and he literally would answer like one or two words.
Really?
Yeah. And we had a full
Do
20.
you think he was doing that purposefully, or you think he's just like an introvert? Because some of these guys are just introverted.
I think I think it's a
They're on
combination.
camera.
I think it was a combination of him being a bit introverted, but also not wanting to do it.
Right. Yeah. they
And
don't wanna do
contractually,
that,
they
right?
have to do.
Yeah.
Right.
Right. Like sports athletes, right? They got to do the press conference after the thing, even though
Yeah.
they lose.
Or maybe he was just in
They
a
work,
bad
right?
mood that day. I don't know.
Yeah,
But it
who
was
knows?
like everybody was just looking at each other like, oh my God. and then there's other times where people are lovely. Drew Barrymore Drew Barrymore
Yeah.
had a film out right after 9/11, and she was obligated to do the press junket, and it was literally like the weekend after.
Oh, it was like literally right
Yeah,
after.
everybody was on edge, and she was sitting. She was sitting there, and you could tell she was so emotionally upset. And we're like,
Right.
okay. Well, people started asking questions, and she started crying. And she's sitting there by herself,
Really?
really kind of like at the head of things. She goes, "I'm sorry." She goes, "With everything that's happening," she goes, I just find this so weird that we're talking about something as silly as a movie, and all these
Right.
things are happening." And she was
People died,
emotionally
yeah.
upset. Everybody just stood there. You know what I did? I got up and walked over and gave her a hug. And I said,
Nice.
"Girl, it's okay that you're upset. I mean, come on."
Yeah.
Absolutely. So ever since then,
Yeah.
too, I was like, I like Drew Barrymore rocks.
Yeah, you'll never forget that story your whole
Yeah.
life.
And I'll never forget John Goodman saying
Fortunate-
one or two
Right,
words.
I was going to say, unfortunately, not good for John Goodman, but good
you
for
know,
Drew Barrymore.
maybe he had a
That's
bad
pretty
day. I don't know.
Yeah. So, do you do most of your coaching remotely? I mean, you have clients all over the world.
Yeah.
right?
Oh yeah.
Now that you're in Australia.
Australia. I have quite a few clients here in Australia. Most of them are in the U.S. East Coast, West Coast, East Coast, everywhere in between.
Yeah.
I got a couple in Pittsburgh. I don't know what
there
happened
you
with
go.
Pittsburgh. But Pittsburgh is.
You need branding too.
They do.
Yeah.
But I have real estate agents, people who own real estate agencies as well, authors. I have a lovely new male psychotherapist that's coming on board as well with me. So I get to work with people all over the place, and I get to work from the comfort of my home with my toy poodle puppy, and that's how I do best. I am best working in my environment where I can take breaks and I can relax and recharge, which is really important.
Yeah, I understand. So, if you told me right, you met your wife, what, in the States, and that's how you ended up in Australia, or you were traveling
No,
through and never left?
I was in Southern California living my life, doing my thing.
Yeah.
And
Right.
she found me on Instagram. That damn social media. You see,
That's
it's
funny.
evil. I'm telling you.
It does connect us.
I showed up on her, things you might be interested in. You know that thing when you go on Instagram and it's got
Yeah.
8,000 pictures of people? She was scrolling and stopped on my picture and like went, hello, and started stalking me for a little bit.
Yeah, like an E-date. There you go.
She stalked me for a while. I couldn't. It was weird. It was weird because at one point I was getting all these likes on my posts from one person, and they were going back they were going way back on the time machine of your page, like
Because they're there.
like a
right.
year or two ago. I'm like, okay, somebody.
That's stalking.
Somebody's
That's
really-
definitely cyber stalking.
Yeah.
Yeah, exactly. So at some point you met, and then she said, "We're moving to Australia,"
No,
because that's where she's from, right?
She just
Did you say that?
she was like, I don't know why I'm so attracted to you, and I'm like, because you got good taste. I don't know what, but I was like, oh, cool. Where are you? She sent me a picture, and I thought it was Florida, because it was beautiful beach, and I was like, oh, Florida. Okay, that's kind of far away from me, but it's interesting. And then I thought, oh, maybe not Florida, maybe Hawaii, and I was like, yeah, Hawaii. That's awesome.
Right.
And then she's like, no, Australia. And
Oh, she was in Australia when.
yes, she's lived
guys
here
connected
with
online.
two kids, two children, two little ones. And I was like, oh my God, you're 7,000 miles away. But we started talking, and you know what? It's probably one of the best things in the world. For 6 months, we did not get to physically be in the same space. For 6 months, we talked. We
Interesting.
we were on WhatsApp, and we didn't have that thing of, and of course we super attracted to each other. But for 6 months, you get to know somebody, and you know their boundaries, their traumas, especially when you're not with them. Their fears. You get to know those things, and you actually get to like that person. After 6 months, you're either in or you're out.
Right.
And so
it was all Zoom dating, basically.
Yeah, Zoom dating, exactly.
Yeah.
So after the
Right.
6 months, I said, we've got to, because I said, I think you're my human. She's
Gotta
like,
meet.
yeah.
Yeah,
So we met in Hawaii. We met midway. Well,
Oh, that's
kind of
good. That's
midway.
It seems midway to me. Probably
Yeah.
not,
We met
technically.
in Maui for 10 days, and that was it.
Okay. And you made a good choice because I think going to Australia is better than her coming to California. I think that's a
Well, and
much
she
better
couldn't.
choice.
I mean, she loves America. She loves Americans. And I miss America. I miss aspects of America. That Americanism that only Americans really know.
Yeah.
There's a friendliness right now politically and every socioeconomically and everything. Things are a little different, but the
Little
reason
bit,
why
yeah.
I loved being in the States was because of the multiculturalism. Because you have people from all different parts of the world.
It's not like that in Australia.
No, I mean in
Australia.
Sydney, in the big city, like in Sydney, you have a bit of
Little bit.
internationalism, but I loved being in California, especially in Southern California. I loved my Mexican friends.
Yeah.
I loved
Yeah,
I loved culturally all of the stuff. When I was in school, I had black friends, I had brown friends, I had Jewish friends. I went to bar mitzvahs. I
Like none of that in Australia?
no. Well, where I live is very, it's where people come to retire because it's so beautiful.
Got it.
So it's a lot
very
of
homogenous.
elderly white people.
Yeah. Yeah, very nice. Very nice.
Yes.
Still, I hear great things about
It's beautiful
Australia.
and the people are lovely and I do feel safer here.
Yeah.
But it's expensive. It's also it ain't cheap. It's
Yeah.
not cheap.
Well, so her job was more like she couldn't move, and you can really work from anywhere.
Well, we
right?
couldn't
So
we couldn't move the kids because they were really
Makes
they were
sense.
really young
Young.
and they're Aussies. They're like, it would have been
them.
if it was just her, she would have been moving,
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Got it.
So
got
I had
it.
to come
Nice,
here.
Nice.
And do that whole gauntlet of the visa and the
There you go.
very very
Oh yeah. So
expensive.
you're on a whatever they call in Australia a green card, like whatever their
No,
equivalent
you first
is?
have to do a temporary visa, and then you do a permanent visa, and then after you're here for a while, then you can apply for citizenship. And so I finally
Got
did
it.
that, and I got my citizenship a little over a year and a half ago.
And it's dual. Like you're still a U.S. citizen, right?
Yes, until they make that illegal over there. Yes.
Yeah. Sure. At some point, they're going to decide.
But yeah,
that-
yeah. And I
Yeah.
and as
Great.
soon as I became a citizen, I got a passport. I was like, when I travel, I'm Aussie, and I'll even say, "Hey, mate, how you
Yeah,
doing?"
that's the one you want to use. Right, exactly. No, you definitely, yeah, I understand that. That's crazy. So what's the best way for people like to learn about what you're doing and to learn from you?
Yeah.
They can hire you as a coach, but besides that, where's the best place that you show
They
up?
need to reach out to me. And here's the thing, too. If you do reach out to me, if you book even a free discovery call with me, which is when we can sit down and you could tell me all about your business and I'll tell you what I think. Make sure you say that you heard you heard this show and that
Okay.
you heard me with Mitch, because that way I can also give Mitch that feedback. It's really important as a host of a show to know that the program is getting out and people are being impacted and they're digging it and they're liking it. So
Sure.
please let me know if you've heard this program.
That would be helpful to me too.
Absolutely. So they can go to expertauthoritycoach.com or theexpertauthoritycoach.com. They can go to that
Okay. We'll
website.
put links in the show notes. too.
And there's a bunch of buttons there that say, free discovery call. I can't help you unless you reach out to me and book that call. It's very simple. You can go to my website and
Right.
see all the great eye candy and all the reviews and all that great stuff. But it really means we need to sit down and talk. After that conversation, then I can give you a little bit of direction if you need a lot of work or if you just need a little tweaking here and there, maybe on your branding and your messaging.
Now, are you on LinkedIn? Are you on
I
Instagram?
am.
Are you on?
I am on LinkedIn. I'm on, and my LinkedIn content is very different than my TikTok content. Okay, so my
Okay.
TikTok content is eclectic. My LinkedIn is very professional because
Okay.
TikTok is my it's my passion. I just love it, and I do a lot of very funny things on TikTok.
Oh,
okay?
I'm definitely gonna follow you on TikTok.
Let's just put it this way. I did an example of marketing, what not to do in marketing, and it was the CEO of McDonald's eating the big arch. And I broke it down as a marketing lesson, like what not to do.
Interesting.
The poor guy, he's been slammed so much. But that's my TikTok, and on LinkedIn, yes, it's a little bit more professional. But I have a newsletter and I put some blog stuff out
Okay.
there as well. I love LinkedIn.
Okay,
It's a
so
great place to be.
subscribe to your newsletter on your
Yeah,
website?
yeah.
Okay, good. All right. Well, I can't thank you enough. I guess your day's starting now, so you can get to work.
I'm gonna have
going
I'm
home.
gonna have a little bit more coffee. Yeah.
Very nice. Yeah, I've had a lot of coffee
It's been
today,
so
it's 4
awesome, Mitch.
o'clock. Yeah.
You've got such a good, you've got a good energy about you, good vibe. And as far as attorneys are concerned, I feel like I could trust you. So if I ever need an
Yeah, well,
attorney
if
in
you're in New
the
York
States,
or in New Jersey, which I can, or if you're stuck somewhere and you need help, I'll find you an attorney.
there you
If I
go.
can't help you. And when I'm in, I'll try to look you up when we go to Australia next year, next spring, I think is when is my daughter going in the fall? No, she's going in the spring. And we'll, what
So
do
your
you,
spring,
major city do you live
what month is it that you're?
spring? It'll be like March, April.
It's starting to get a little chilly.
Yeah, I know, but we got no choice. That's when she's there. They were like late June, late January, and she comes back like the end of April.
Yeah.
So I have no choice. And she goes to school in the desert, so she doesn't care.
Oh, she's gonna love it. Yeah, you'll love it.
So what major city are you near?
Well, it's called Newcastle, but Sydney is the big one. Sydney's
Okay, yeah, we'll be in Sydney, so that's where we'll be.
Sydney is
Yeah.
incredible. It's phenomenal. You're gonna have, and the food is amazing. All the food is
Well,
great here.
yeah, we're foodies, so I'm looking forward to all that kind
Yeah,
of
you're gonna
stuff.
have fun. You
Yeah,
start talking
yeah,
like
yeah,
that,
yeah.
mate. Hey, mate.
Yeah, no, I'll work on my. I'll say this, and then I won't keep you any longer. But my first law firm, one of my early law firms, we had an answering service, right? And we needed someone to record, so I hired an Australian voiceover person because I felt that the Australian accent to me is very soothing.
It
It's
is.
very calming.
It is.
So I hired this woman to do our opening, hello, welcome to the.
Oh,
Bein
that's
Haker
so
Law Firm.
good.
It was nice, yeah.
Yeah.
Then we all broke up, and I didn't continue.
When I first came here, I'll tell you what. When I first came here, your nav, we call him nav man, whatever, your navigation thing. That was the first thing that I had changed, because when I
Oh, right, because you can change. Yeah, I do British. Mine's
yeah,
British.
so you can, if you can get yourself ready when you come to Australia, put it into the Australian one. It's actually quite lovely.
Yeah, you learn some different things.
Yeah.
So, Christine, I can't thank you enough for
Thank you, Mitch.
granting me your time and the whole thing, and sharing your wisdom and knowledge and your story.
Thank you so much. Let me know if there's anything I can do for you, and just thank you so much for the opportunity to be with you and your audience.
In addition to being a podcast host, I'm also a small business attorney, mostly providing legal services in New York and New Jersey. With over 3 decades of experience, we can handle most transactional issues. So if you're watching the show and you encounter some sort of legal issue, reach out to us and visit our website, beinhakerlaw.com. Thanks for tuning into the show and for continuing to support us.